Protecting a child, for me, is giving him opportunities to first live his childhood, to live in a healthy environment, a protective environment, and allow him to bloom and to be someone who can say that he learned what he needed to become a man tomorrow. Protection is everyone's responsibility. First the parents, then the neighbors, then the communities, then those representing the state, teachers, social workers, policemen, judges. He came to see me. Every time he saw me stop at the red light, he knocked on my window and said to me, "I want to go to school." I said, "How can it be that you're not at school? All this time that we've been talking about it for a year and a half." And the father sent 4 children to school, but not him. He sent 4, so he made a really big effort, but this one is the one that brings in the most money. We managed to convince him for 1 child, 2 children, 3 children, but we'll go back to see the father and do whatever we can, so he'll send his son to school, but he will need help. Okay, we understand that the child can help his family, that is also part of his education, learning the values of his environment and his community. But it mustn't compromise his right to education, his right to health, his right to free time, because after all, they are children. They don't talk about playing anymore. They don't know what it is to play a football match in the village. They leave school, they go to work, so that's it. It's also about promoting those rights, which are very important for a child to grow up properly. So, one evening, we were sitting in front of Mamadou's door, talking, and a little girl walked past and asked us for money. And we gave her some money, and afterwards we talked about it. We said no, instead of spending all our time on the doorstep talking and doing nothing, we could do something and try to help these children. We are running multiple projects. We take responsibility for their education, but also offer practical advice to show them there are various possibilities other than begging. At the beginning, it's true, the child represents an income, but once they are off the streets, this income is missing. We don't want to replace this income, but eventually, we would like to take care of the child's needs.
Je m'appelle Maria. Je m'appelle Aïcha.
Je m'appelle Morta.
Laïla.
Bonsoir.
I can already see that there are literate people. If God gave us the means, we could find them vocational training, it's true. Our mission is not to make politicians out of them, representatives, but at least people who have the arms they need to defend themselves in society. If conditions improve for the child, they also improve for the parents. The children themselves need to go looking, find something to eat, because they can't feed the whole family. That's why they make the children beg. The talibé children, where we manage to negotiate with their teachers so that they can go to school, are still learning the same things, but more moderately. Given that the children had been begging, that means they are leaving begging to go to school, something which is very difficult, because when you have a conviction and someone wants to change your conviction, you have problems as long as you don't have any points of reference. So you really need to follow them to see whether they are really going to school, or if they are just pretending to go and then really going back on the streets. My name is Kalanjibo Awa. They stole my youth because I was stuck and I didn't even have the time to go and have fun with my friends. You work every day, you work on Sunday, you don't even get a day off. Yes, they mistreat you. They can even hit you. She left without telling her father. She does the dishes, sweeps up, cooks. If they leave the village here, if they go into the town, they go to find the girls who are living it up. They want to be like those girls. They want to do what those girls are doing there. They don't know anything about protection, so they give themselves without protection and they get pregnant. Sometimes the boss, the employers, don't give them anything to eat. Sometimes they are scolded, mistreated, they are even beaten. There are others who catch diseases, but their salary isn't enough to pay for the medicine. The little children, well, the children of, I was going to say, of poor people, they do whatever they can to bring in the money for their families. Whatever can get them money quickly to look after themselves. So they don't even do any training or classes, but things that can get them money quickly. Because they see that after spending 5 or 6 years to learn something, later, at home, there isn't any food, and it's very complicated. When they come from the village in a group, they come and stay here. We're considered a bit like a second family in the town here. They don't know anybody else. They might stay 2 or 3 days. They are taken on by women who come and ask about them. There are women who want to employ maids. And we also get telephone calls where people leave their address. Most of the girls who come are under 16.
La plupart des filles même qui arrivent ont moins de 16 ans.
But at our level, once they arrive here, well, we can only advise the girl and then the employer. You give her advice because she's only a young child and you shouldn't be too hard. It's mostly women that are very hard on the girls. So, well, we're stuck if we don't want to send the girl back to her parents. Here's a 13-year-old girl. I was 13. Once he hit me, I put up with it. I stayed. This is the second time now, and I thought she was mistreating me too much, once I told my uncle that. So he said to leave the job. He went to see the woman and to explain. I was angry at the same time. Very sad. Often I can sit down like that and think and cry by myself. Be very sad. You have to realize that we have nobody here. Even if they mistreat us, nobody's going to say anything. We do sessions in the Point Espoir with the maids, talking about different situations that they've experienced, especially at work. When I came here, I started to work. It wasn't easy at the beginning. I didn't get along well with the lady I worked for. All the time, it was insults. To get anything to eat was sometimes a bit complicated. Because I am so young, every time I get ill, I don't know why. I don't know, I'm far away from my parents. I don't know if it's that. I don't know exactly. There are insults, cuts and injuries, rape. They don't get paid, contested and unwanted pregnancies. All these phenomena happen where they work. They tell me, Sally, this is happening to me. Can you come and help me? Where the girls come from is really a Sahelian zone where there is extreme poverty. So that's what pushes the girls to look for other solutions elsewhere. And elsewhere is in the towns. Du noir sur du blanc, ranger le passé, croire au lendemain, tenir le monde dans nos mains. She wanted to go to school, but because her parents told her they don't have the means to pay for the school, they want her to stay at home and do the housework, although she would have liked to go to school. People are mostly illiterate, so quite an intense awareness campaign is necessary. Intense enough so that people become aware, not only because the child is an individual being who needs special protection, but that when his rights are violated, you need to take action to repair them. All those that you see here are members of the Village Development Committee for Gone. We are working to help them set up child protection projects. And there, that means awareness, for example, about premature marriage. The awareness campaign about migrating too young is also something they do. They will motivate the parents in the villages to enroll the children because they are convinced about the importance of going to school. And then they'll be convinced that using school is a way to fight against early migration. There are minors of 11 years who were intercepted leaving for Ouagadougou. So the parents were arrested and judged for mistreating the child. Projects like this were set up because once the parents are arrested, they realize how serious it is. A parent who is questioned about something their child did, well, obviously, it makes an impression on them, and then their entourage becomes aware too. No parent tells their child to move to the town, but it's the longing that pushes them to leave. And if you want to stop them from leaving, she'll say, well, my friend came back and she came back with this and that. Can you give me that? If she stays in the village, what can she have? I have a wife and 10 children, 6 girls and 4 boys. We are farmers. We encouraged her not to leave for the unknown. We said she should just stay and learn to sew. So they took Aline to train her in Tougan at the Samaritaine. Once she was there, she was well looked after. Every time the facilitator stopped by to give her advice about how to protect herself and become a beautiful woman of tomorrow. So the facilitator mentored her, and Aline learned to sew, and then at the same time she learned to read. Now she is literate. Thanks to Aline, we are chiefs because everyone respects us in the village now. In any case, we thank you very much for the effort you made with our family. In any case, we'll never forget you. There, on my right, is a sheep that Aline earned thanks to her activities. She was given a sewing machine. Now she sews at home. She has her workshop at home. Everything started with the activities of awareness, first towards the population, before the identification of the girls. So you see, she participated in these awareness activities, and it is there that she heard and that she knew that if she had the opportunity to learn a trade, she wouldn't go to the town, but she would earn what she could have in town, right here in the village. When you see the conditions that people are working in, the physical effort that they have to make, the conditions they are living in, that atmosphere, the air is stinking with the different smells of burning tires, overheated metal. Yeah, these are difficult conditions. It's practically impossible for the children. He says he's called Kabouré Ousmane. He came to look for gold. But this year he hasn't found any gold yet. Since there's no gold yet, he hasn't had any success. When you sit down, you think about who has the means. Well, he can have everything he needs, and that's what makes them coming looking for gold here. The danger is for children here, especially for the little ones. They are near their parents, in the dust, under the sun, near toxic products, chemicals. But there are even young people working in the holes. They are exposed to landslides, suffocation, and the other children suffer from injuries, and they're exposed to all the dangers we know in mining work. He says he's called Silga Mahama. He says he doesn't know how old he is. He says he washes the minerals. He came with his big brothers. He was at school, and then they told him he couldn't go to school anymore. He couldn't be enrolled. He says he doesn't think this is a place for children. There is an age for working, and when you employ a child who isn't old enough, you immediately realize that you're going against the law, and you will suffer the costs. Having children on the site is not acceptable, but we can't do any differently, because the people live with their families on the site. So it's difficult because they live from gold mining, so their families need to be near them. Apart from the danger of the work, there are also drugs, because often people take drugs to go down the holes to give themselves the courage. So, for example, it's an area where we prioritize removing the children. He says that he thinks it's a good idea that we are taking children out of the mines to send them to school, or so that they can have vocational training. And there's even a nursery at the sites. That lets children learn to read and to do something else instead of working in the mine. If there weren't those opportunities, if there wasn't that project, there are some that would stay here and not know anything about the subjects at school or about crafts. They would learn absolutely nothing. We were really very lucky. 1 week after the nursery was set up, half the site went on fire. Then we had about 80 children in our bisongo, in our nursery. They were really saved because the children were in the nursery. If not, we would have had too many problems. I'm Awa. They came and asked if there were people who wanted to do something other than breaking stones. There was sewing, and hairdressing, and mechanics. I preferred sewing. It would really be good if one day there could be no more children in the mines. But the phase we have to pass through is awareness and offering alternatives in terms of education and in terms of training for these children. So I think that little by little, the parents themselves will realize the need to send children to school or to training centers. I was in the quarry before coming to the carpentry workshop. I helped my mother break stones. I found it was really hard. I set myself up in a carpentry workshop. So here I looked after myself a bit, so I can work with my boss. By bringing together the different players, whether it's the state or the NGOs, we created a recognition setup for exchange, training, and we hope it will make the work in the field for children more effective. The maids often, when they are employed in certain families, they are considered as animals. What I say to them is, you shouldn't behave like that. You shouldn't let it go. You need to make them respect you. You need to show that you are important human beings, like the others. That's it.
Les pleurs de mon passé, la souffrance de ce présent, tous ces hommes qui me regardent, s'imagine d'où je viens, toutes ces femmes qui m'écoutent se demande comment je fais. C'est triste, mais c'est réel que les feuilles de mon arbre sont jaunes. C'est triste, même très réel, que ma rivière n'a pas de poisson. Il est une coupe de monocolie.